I am Suzanne LaGrande, and today on We Are All in This Together, I am speaking with Hilary Shohoney, Director of Community Development at Free Geek in Portland, Oregon. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about Free Geek and what it is your organization does.
Yeah, so the simple way that I like to think of Free Geek is that we take in used technology and we refurbish that technology and work really hard to get it back out into the community for either free or low cost. Kind of in a big scheme, we're looking at solving two societal problems by pointing them back at each other, right? Like we're taking e-waste and we're pointing that at the problem of the digital divide and creating kind of a closed economy that solves both.
Can you explain what the digital divide is?
Absolutely. So the digital divide is this idea that certain folks don't have access to either an internet-enabled device, that could be a laptop, a cell phone, a computer of some sort. They might not have access to the internet. They might not have adequate tech support to know how to use their device or to troubleshoot it. And on top of that, they might be lacking education to use the device in a way that actually helps them.
How many people don't have access to a device to communicate with, would you say, in our community?
So in the Portland metro area, the last numbers that we have say 17%. So nearly 20% of our population is disconnected.
And what are the reasons for that, would you say?
A lot of times computers are seen as a luxury for folks, and it's just not something that they feel like they can afford. And sometimes it's because, we have a device at work that we're using or at school that we're using. But as soon as those devices become unavailable, then that divide becomes much more important. And then a lot of times it's our senior folks who are experiencing this. So a lot of times we find that seniors don't have access. But I think this falls along the line of every other systemic problem that we see, right? So you can map it out based on neighborhoods that people live in, systemic oppressions that exist for them. There's it's a very intersectional issue along with just about everything else that you see. You'll note this affects people who are marginalized in a number of other ways.
We are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I'm wondering what effect this pandemic is having on the work that you do.
Yeah, I think for us it's making our work more salient. We knew it was a problem, but now we're seeing folks who are, maybe they're students and they are trying to participate in education long distance for the first time. Maybe they are workers who are learning to work from home for the first time but don't have access to a computer. And maybe they're seniors and they need to have telehealth appointments because they can't go in and get the care that they need. The telehealth appointments are really, really vital. Their caretakers are maybe emailing us and saying, hey, my mother is in her 70s. She doesn't have access to a computer, and right now she needs to go to these doctor's appointments. It's life and death for her, and she doesn't have a way to experience telehealth. That's the only way that the doctors are willing to see her. That's something that's coming up daily for us at this moment. Another thing that happened yesterday was we heard from Contingent, which is the group that helps with foster care kids in the state of Oregon. And what they're struggling with is a lot of children right now don't have access to a device at home that would allow them to connect with their social worker and also to connect with their parents who might be trying to, regain custody, have maybe experienced being deported. So there's no way for them to connect with people that are really meaningful in their lives and really, helping them to just get through. And mental health is another area. I can say this about everything right now. There's so many areas where people need a device to connect. Maybe it's to a mental health professional, and maybe isolation is extra difficult right now. But people are struggling, and a device is the one thing that can provide them with a connection.
How are you meeting this need?
We are struggling to meet the need right now. We're hearing every day from hundreds of people who need access to a device and maybe need access to low-cost, discounted internet services, and we're trying to help connect them to all the resources that we can and trying to get them low-cost machines or free machines as commonly as we can so that people can connect and be a part of what's happening in the world right now, because whereas normally the digital divide impacts people in a very real way, this is a much more obvious problem right now. And people need laptops. People need What we need right now are laptops with a webcam and a built-in microphone and speakers. That is like the basic need that we're having hundreds of requests for a day. The public has been very generous and trying to help us out financially as much as they can, but obviously most people are strapped for a job right now. And then on top of that, because we can't take in technology in the same way, we're really leaning into our corporate partners and asking them to give us more technology because they're the ones that have a little bit more of a logistical arm that can get us large quantities of tech. And what we've been doing is getting donations from folks who maybe have like a headphone business, and they're saying, okay, we'll give you this shipment of brand new headphones and microphones so that people can connect that way if those functions aren't available on their computer. And then we're adding third-party webcams onto machines for machines that don't have working webcams. So they pretty commonly exist, but frequently are broken, and we just honestly are running low on inventory and need more machines to serve the need. We don't actually have enough technology to meet the need right now, and it's something that we're really struggling through and trying to solve for. We're getting requests for 200, 300, 400 machines a day, and trying to meet that need has been a challenge. And sometimes we're able to work with folks who need a device, but maybe they have access to some technology and they're helping us to find that tech, and that's helping. But yeah, it's a real struggle for us right now, just finding the device.
How are you actually getting these computers or webcams to the people who need them?
Yeah, so there are a number of ways. We're still offering pickups. So we have a skeleton crew on site right now, and they're offering pickups with 6-foot distancing. We've also been dropping them off at locations. So we recently worked with PSU to provide them a couple hundred computers to a group of their students that were at high risk. What we did is we basically set the computers on a table. We walk away, the student comes and gets their computer, we disinfect the table again, and then we do that over and over again. And so we're doing a lot of pickups on site like that for folks who need a device. And then we're also able frequently to ship to people's homes. That's something new that we've been offering, and there's a cost involved for us, so we're trying to find ways to creatively recoup that cost, but it's something that we're exploring right now.
Looking at this situation, which has the digital divide, which has made, I'm sorry, let me say that again. The situation with the pandemic has made the digital divide even more obvious, I think, to many people who it was not obvious to before. What do you hope will come out of this, or what do you think needs to come out of a recognition of the extent to which people really do need technology for basic connection in a society?
Yeah, I guess I hope that we take this opportunity to adjust the language around it. I think even to this day, like we'll reach out to our community and say, hey, this seems like a basic right to us that people have access to a device, and we'll hear, oh no, it's a privilege. And I would argue that right now it's being proven to us that it is actually a human right at this time. And we often hear in our community that technology is the thing that will save us, technology will change the world. But technology and innovation are really just buzzwords if they don't include everyone, and they just become another systemic barrier for folks. And so it's my goal, and I know it's the goal of most folks who work at Free Geek, to really help bridge that divide so that when we talk about innovation, we're really including everyone in the digital future and not leaving folks who are systemically disadvantaged left even further behind.
I have been speaking today with Hilary Shohoney, who is the Director of Community Development for Free Geek in Portland, Oregon. I am Suzanne LaGrande, and this is We Are All in This Together.